Hey guys, and welcome back to the channel. And we're going to be having a fantastic chat today ahead of the Manchester United game with one of the main presenters over at the really popular 1.8 million subscriber United stand. Hi Beth, welcome to the channel again.
Hi, thank you so much for having me on again. It's nice to be here.
Well, I really appreciate you giving you your time, and make sure you do go and check out all the great content they do over there, especially in the build up to the Wolves game and also the post match reaction and everything that goes with it as well. Beth, it's an interesting one. Obviously, Wolves and Man United was the opening fixture, was it not, of this year's Premier League season? And it's still talked about now. I mean, Wolves surprised United on that night by how well we played. Bear in mind, Gary O'Neill had just come in. Didn't win the game. We lost the game, actually. And then there was the Onana incident where, in our opinion, he basically did an NFL tackle on Kalajic, I think it was. And then the penalty wasn't given. Just before we get on to that, what was your take on that opening game? And has that sort of set the trend for United this season?
Yeah, it definitely has set the tone, but we obviously haven't been as lucky as we were on that day. Wolves came to Old Trafford and they played really well. And to be honest with you, it should have been a draw because you should have had a penalty. I think a lot of Man United fans would admit that as well. Like it was crazy how the penalty wasn't given, but it wasn't. But then since then, it seems like that's been held against us the whole season because we've had no VAR decisions go for us whatsoever. We've had absolutely nothing. If anything, VAR has been so against us for the rest of the season. But I get everybody has that, and to be honest, I don't think we can speak because I think Wolves have had the worst of it from VAR, haven't they, this season? Gary O'Neill's been talking about it loads, and VAR, I just don't like it. But in terms of the game, you guys came to Old Trafford and you did really surprise us, I think. And it's not surprising that Wolves played well because I do think Gary O'Neill's a good manager, but I think he'd only just
Yeah,
kind of got
2 days,
settled at that
three or
point,
four
a few
days.
days. Yeah, so I didn't know what he'd be able to do in that amount of time. But since then, Wolves have gone strength to strength, really, and you're having a good season. And I rate Gary O'Neill as a manager, but for Man United, we've not been able to start. I thought after that game, on maybe next game we'll start our season properly and we'll kick into gear. We've had a terrible season, really, and really inconsistent.
Well, as we stand at this point in time, United stand 8th in the league. I think you're on 31 or 32 points. Something. I think you're about 3 points in front of Wolves. I think I saw that you got a minus goal difference as well. Is that right?
Yeah, we probably do because our average XG is the third worst in the whole league. We're expected to score the third least amount of goals in the whole league as Manchester United. So that's probably right. I'll actually just double check it now because I'll have it up here.
Yeah.
I'll have it up here.
Interesting.
I think it is. I think it is a minus goal difference. I know our goal difference is absolutely terrible.
Yeah, I was
So yeah,
looking at
it's
that.
-5. It's
Yeah, I
minus
was
five our
looking at
goal
that.
difference.
Are we 3 points behind you?
You are 3 points behind us, yes.
So yeah, I mean that makes an extra little bit of spice for this game because if Wolves manage to win the game, we'll actually go above United in the league, which is for us.
Hmm.
We're level on points with Newcastle at the moment, I think. Where I mean, you've probably heard all the saga about Wolves during the summer, the financial problems, the Julian Lopetegui and everything. We think he's sitting actually waiting to be the man. He wants to be the Man United manager because still hasn't got it. He's still living in Wolverhampton and he's waiting for a club. And I think he's hoping that Ten Hag gets sacked. And then obviously the season that we've had at this point to where we are, obviously, is probably no one really expected that around the rest of the football world and probably majority of Wolves fans at this point. Is that fair to say from your perspective? It's a bit of surprise with how well Wolves have done under Gary O'Neill.
Absolutely. To be fair, before Gary O'Neill came in, because I liked Gary O'Neill already at Bournemouth, but before Gary O'Neill came in, there was a lot of rumours about there was upset between Lopetegui and the owners, and he was frustrated because the money wasn't there. And at that point in time, I think you actually asked me for predictions, and I was doing my predictions. I had Wolves to go down this season,
You
like
did, yeah.
genuinely, and I didn't. It's not that I want that to happen. It's just in the summer there was so much poor talk coming out of there, and the future did look bleak. But then Gary O'Neill came in, and he really has made a difference. And I do think Lopetegui is a good manager, but obviously it just didn't work out at Wolves. But look, Gary O'Neill's come in, he's worked with what he's got, and he's done a good job. And you guys have massively overachieved what I thought my expectations were, and there's a couple of players for you that are doing really well. You know, Cunha and there's others as well. It's just I'm glad the Asian Cup's on. All I'm going to say at this point.
We haven't got Wang. Yeah, he's
That's what I
away.
mean.
We have got Ait-Nouri back, who's sort of like our wing back. He's got a bit of pace. He came on a little bit at Algeria got knocked out. He came on a little bit against the Albion game. What's the general feeling then of the Man United fan base at the moment? I mean, there's so much speculation going up and down all the time about Ten Hag. I mean, how are the United fan base feeling? Are they fully behind him? Are they not? Are they split on it? I mean, where would you say they are, and where are you at with it?
I think it's quite split, but I think the majority is still Ten Hag in but I think it is quite split. And I think the reason the majority still want to stick with Ten Hag is purely because of the amount of managers we've been through, and I don't think people can be bothered getting another one in. And do you know what it is? I think a lot of Man United fans recognise that the problem at Manchester United doesn't just lie with the manager. We've had manager after manager after manager and nothing's worked. The problem is what's happening behind the scenes. The problem is we don't have a sporting director. The problem is our scouting network hasn't been utilised. Our CEO CEO and Woodward and then Arnold have both been terrible. So there's a lot that needs to change behind the scenes before you just pinpoint the manager. Of course, Ten Hag needs to come under scrutiny. He's not had a good season. You know, he picks a team. His signings realistically have been poor in an overall census. But you look at the top teams in the country, and you have sporting directors that are going scouting you out signings, and the manager signs off on it, and he should absolutely contribute. But it seems like Ten Hag's just been handed a checkbook and said, you know what, go and get who you want, and he's doing about 5 different roles. Ten Hag, what he did last season, I think, has given him a lot of kind of patience from Man United fans.
League and a couple of finals, didn't he?
He got us third, so we got us Champions League. Bear in mind, he came into the worst ever point scoring Man United team. He got us third. We won the Carabao Cup. We got into the final of the FA Cup. We had a good season considering where we were at. This season, we've fallen off a cliff, and there is a lot to be answered for. His tactics aren't working. There's no style of play. I think that's the main thing. Like, results are one thing, but there's no style of play. But with Sir Jim coming in, and obviously us going getting a new CEO in Omar Barada, and looking to get a new sporting director in, I think the majority of United fans want to at least give Ten Hag a chance under that new structure. And obviously, I know everyone has injuries, but a lot of his key players have been injured, and he's used that as an excuse. So now we've got injuries back, it's time to see what he can produce. But I'm not too hopeful because all season it's been terrible.
Do you think you're going to get anywhere near making the Champions League, or you think this year it's just about making some form of European competition and maybe getting to the FA Cup final again? Is that kind of where you're at now?
Yeah, I don't see us getting top 4. I just don't think there's a chance. Like, you look at the teams that are in and around it. City are definitely, obviously, going to be in there. Liverpool will be. Arsenal will be. 4th spot, Spurs. We won't get ahead of Spurs. And then you've got Aston Villa, who are doing brilliantly. People are talking that maybe there'll be a 5th spot for the Champions League. Potentially, we could push for that. But even so, I think, you know, I see Villa and Spurs, Arsenal, Liverpool, City all better than us, and you know, I wouldn't write Newcastle off yet either. So it's going to be tough for Manchester United to get up there. Of course, we've got to aim for that, but realistically, I don't see Man United getting top 4, and I think the FA Cup is something that Ten Hag and the Man United players have to go all out for, because that could sort of save our season. If it was Europa League, okay, yeah, I would definitely want to take Europa League, but Conference League, no, I'd rather not be in anything.
Fair comment. So obviously Wolves, hoping to finish in the top half from where we are. Looking ahead to the fixture in the week, your away form hasn't been so good of recent times. I mean, I know you did. You won against Newport. I mean, I watched that game, and for a little period there, it was like, is there going to be an upset again? Because I mean, you saw what Maidstone did, and then Newport come back from nowhere. I bet you're watching that as a United fans thinking, oh my God, surely not. But you did get the job done in the end. I think it was a late fourth goal that really wrapped it up. But up until like then, Newport were pushing for another equaliser to bring a replay, but you have got through to the final, to the last 16. I'm not sure who have you drawn in the next round.
Either Bristol City or Nottingham Forest. I think they play tonight.
You're getting these draws, aren't you? You keep getting these. Is that at home or away?
Away. Forest away is tough.
To be honest, they did beat you the last game, didn't they?
Exactly.
Was it 2-1? They beat you.
Hey, any game's tough for us right now.
Yeah, you lost. I think, did you lose to West Ham as well in the previous away game before that? Was it West Ham?
Yeah, most of our away games we lose, to be honest. So yeah, probably.
So, what's your sort of expectation then going into the game at Molineux on Thursday? It's almost going to be like I remember that for us, that quarter final of the FA Cup. It was under the Molineux lights, which we had Jota and we had Raul Jimenez in peak form at the time. We won the game in the end. I think you got a late goal. We got through, and then obviously didn't get to the final. It's always a special night under the lights at Molineux. What is your expectation going into that game, and who do you look at being the danger men from a United point of view, and how Wolves are going to set up, and how do we think that Man United will set up to play Wolves on Thursday under Ten Hag?
I think we'll be quite cautious, and I think we have every right to be. I mean, we're coming to the Molineux, which, I mean, you've had some good results there this season. You beat City at the Molineux this season. I mean, it's a tough place to go, and Wolves are usually our bogey team anyway. And in the situation that we're in, I've said, I honestly, this moment in time, I'd be surprised if we come away with a point. And that's not me just being funny. That's like me being realistic, like genuinely, because you're having such a good season. We're having such a poor season. Our away form is terrible. You know, your home form's good. I mean, you look at all of them kind of statistics and you think it doesn't look good for Manchester United. Rashford, I don't think will even be in the squad after what's happened with him recently. I mean, not that he's been very good.
Thursday.
I doubt it. I don't think he should be. He's, missing training after being out 2 nights on the bounce. I think he needs to be disciplined. So I think Ten Hag's got to handle that situation, and I don't think he should play him. I wouldn't want him to play, even though he's one of our better players from a United point of view. It's weird because last time we had the disciplinary issues at Wolves away as well, so I don't know how it's kind of worked out the same. But no, I think we've got to go into this cautiously. Of course, we want to win the game, but I think we've got to go in with caution. And you've got threats all over for me. I'm like I said, I'm very happy Hwang isn't available because I think he's having such a good season for you guys. But Cunha again, Mateus Cunha, I think he's such a big threat. Every time I watch Wolves, he really stands out for me. You've got other players, of course, but Gary O'Neill.
You're probably referring to Pedro Neto when you're on about.
Pedro Neto, yeah, I forgot about Pedro Neto. He's a massive threat, and someone I think if he hadn't had the injuries he's had, he'd probably had maybe a move to like one of the, no disrespect, but like top teams in the league. I think Arsenal were linked to him for a while, but obviously injuries have sort of hindered him. But young player, a lot of talent. It's going to be tough going there for sure.
Yeah, he's very direct, Pedro. He's kind of like when we sold Jota. We sold Jota on the basis that Pedro Neto was coming through, and they saw the potential in him. And I think Pedro Neto is going to be even better than Jota. And Wolves fans in some ways were resigned to the fact. Do
you think he'll be better than Jota?
I do, yeah.
Wow,
I really do. He's some player, Pedro Neto. He's so brave. He's intelligent. His runs. He's got a shot on him. He can literally take. He's got pace. He's just very, very brave, and I think he's going to be better than Jota. I think he's still young. He's had his injury problems and stuff like that, and I think a lot of Wolves fans, in some ways, were resigned to the fact that in the summer he's probably going to be. There might be a bidding war on him, and Wolves will, but we can't sell him for peanuts. It's going to be like a 60, 70, 80 million really that he's worth because he's at the right age, and. Jota went to Liverpool.
We could do with him at United.
You know what? He's got such a great attitude as well. Pedro Neto, he's very grounded. He's got a really good attitude. He works hard in training. He's always got a smile on his face. And that's something that I mean, you talk about some of the issues that you've had within the United camp. It's there's some players sometimes think they're bigger than the club. I don't know whether that's how it comes across with
Yeah.
United, but like at the moment at Wolves, we are thin on the ground in terms of squad depth. We have avoided the issues with FFP or profit and sustainability. We won't have a lot to do this summer. Hopefully, when we get into the summer, we'll have a little bit more clear blue water, and I think there'll be a few other teams, knocking around that are going to have their own issues with profit and sustainability. I mean, Newcastle are already talking about having to sell to buy, and this is Newcastle, who've got the most wealthiest owners in the world, but you're all restricted by your income. Obviously, United income's so much bigger than a club of Wolves side because of your global fan base and everything like that. So Wolves have got to. I think it's now become how you trade, and you look at the likes of Brighton and how they've traded and managed to build their team, and we've got them in. They're our bogey team, and we've drawn them in the FA Cup. Actually, we can never beat Brighton for some strange reason.
Brilliant Brighton.
Yeah, and they're a really good team, and they're a shining example of how to grow a team and how to build a team and a squad, and fair play to them. United, I think it's never quite happened since Sir Alex left, and it may be the same for Liverpool, when Klopp goes, because whoever comes in after Klopp have got such big shoes to fill. As a United fan, interestingly, what's your thoughts on, because obviously Liverpool being one of your biggest rivals, what's your thoughts on Klopp going? Are you happy? Are you sad? Respect there? How do you feel about it?
Obviously, I'm absolutely buzzing as a United fan because for me, Klopp, he's obviously one of the best managers in the world, and he's managing our biggest rivals, and he's brought them back to where Liverpool realistically, want to be, which is around the top, one of the top teams. And Man City and Liverpool have had that rivalry now in the Premier League for a long time, and as a United fan, I'm jealous of that because we want to be at that stage. And I mean, I have such respect for Klopp because he's an amazing manager, and I have so much respect for what he's done in terms of the budget he had as well, and because FSG isn't like Man City in the City Group where you're just going to get unlimited money. Like he has had to sold Coutinho, use that money really well, and of course some of the signings haven't paid off, but altogether I think the way he's managed to get the best out of certain players and play this style of football that requires so much energy, and the way they've been able to do that consistently, and the fact he's won every trophy, of course you've got to have respect for that. But I'm happy he's going because he's managing our biggest rivals and we want to be better than them. And all I keep thinking is, Klopp's gone, the director's going, his coaching staff's going. Now Van Dijk's come out and said he don't know if he's going to continue with it after. We'll have to see what the project is. I'm thinking, I'm hoping, I do hope the wheels fall off at Liverpool, and I hope they suffer a fraction of what we did with when Fergie left.
Well, exactly. I mean, when there's a lot of players there that are there before Klopp, and you always think when a manager leaves like that, they think, well, maybe it's my time as well. There might be a bit of a transition for Liverpool, and as United fans, when you're like with that Sir Alex, it never necessarily works out, does it? Sometimes it can, but like you could go backwards, and then it's hard to get. You've been trying ever since to try and get back up to that sort of level. Yeah, you've won a few cups, you've had the Champions Leagues and stuff, but you never really got back established right at the pinnacle of the game. And Manchester United is such a big club; they're always in the news, around the manager and stuff like that. And it's going to be interesting, like from watching it from a fan of a rival Premier League team, to see how the new investment with Sir Jim Ratcliffe and like what you said, the new directors coming in, and how that sort of pans out over the next sort of the rest of this season. And then I'm thinking during the summer as well, and then how you kick on it and start next season, because it's a big transition period. And I guess as a United fan, you're hoping that this investment and this change, because he's taken over the football running, isn't he, Sir Jim?
Mm-hmm.
And he's he's a winner in business and stuff like that. You're quite hopeful that that's going to take you to that next level where you believe that you should be.
I'm hoping so. I mean, I think Man United fans have to have hope. Obviously, Sir Jim he's been very successful in his business career, but I think one of the most important things is he's bringing people in that are best in class in their areas. Like, obviously, he doesn't know how to be a sporting director, how to be a CEO, but he's bringing in, on his board of directors, Sir Dave Brailsford, who in cycling has just been absolutely unbelievable. And of course, football isn't cycling, but he knows how to win. He knows how to do the marginal gains, and he's the way he's kind of, his career is just really exciting in terms of if he can bring that into football, that'll help us out a lot. Claude Blanc, who was brilliant at PSG and then Juventus, at rebuilding Juventus back up, he's going to be on the board of directors. And then we've got Omar Barada, the head of football operations from the City Group, who's going to be our new CEO, who Pep looked really rattled in his press conference when he got asked about it, which is a good sign because that means we've got someone good. And I've watched the City or Nothing documentary in Omar Barada, and that's really impressive. And just the way he talks is so different to how Man United have been. He says, we won't overpay for players. You've got to look at the football and the financial side. All players need to be the same style of players what the manager wants. Man United for years, we've recruited terribly, we've overspent, we've given massive wages, we've panic bought, we've got loads of completely different style of players that don't suit the same pathway that the manager's going on, because a lot of times we don't stick with a manager, which is poor. So we've made bad decisions, and then we've not even had a sporting director. We're gonna, hopefully this is like the rumour, we're gonna get in a head of recruitment and a sporting director. So all of that, I'm hoping in the summer will completely change the way Man United does recruitment. And recruitment, I think, is such a big thing in football, especially at the top level. You have to get it right, and Man United have been shooting themselves in the foot with it every single year. It's been terrible. So hopefully that improvement will get things going. But the big thing is it going to be Erik ten Hag that leads this new era or not? Because Liverpool are going to be in the manager market. You've got Barcelona now going into the manager market. Who knows who else is going to be there? Is Erik ten Hag going to be the guy we go with? Because it's a big decision to make to start the new era with this manager and trust him to do so.
I think that's a very good point that you made there. I think probably they're feeling him out at the moment. It's the gym and and all that sort of stuff, and giving in the thing. But like, you do know that, like I say, Liverpool, if you want to get the best in class in everything, then you want to get the best in class as managers. And do they stick or twist? And if they stick, do they miss out on potentially bringing in someone in better? Just looking back onto the game before we finish, Beth, and thank you again for your time and your really fantastic insight into United. I just want you to give us your thoughts if you've got a score prediction for Thursday, and whether you want to change and stick or twist from your thoughts on where Wolves will finish at the end of the season.
Yeah, I think I'm going to twist on that one. Where is Wolves will finish? Where are you now? That's the question.
We're 11th at the moment.
You're 11th. Let me have a
3 points behind you, level with Newcastle.
Okay, so it's tough. Bournemouth are doing pretty well as well. But do you know what? I'm going to say 11th. I would like you to get top half of the table, but I'm just looking at the teams above there, and I don't know if anyone could be displaced. Newcastle, Chelsea, obviously. You know what? You might be able to take our spot, depending on how bad we do. Brighton, West Ham. I'm going to say, I think 11th for you guys, where you're at now. I think that would be a good season overall. I know you said you want to aim for top half, obviously, but I think that would be a great season considering what
from where we were last season, 13th. If you finish above that, it's progress. You got to, especially with Gary O'Neill coming in so late. I'm hoping we can push on a little bit higher. And your score prediction for Thursday night?
See, I never want to go against United, but honestly, I do see you guys winning it. But because I'm not going to go against United, I'll go with 1-1.
A 1-1. And finally,
don't think we'll win.
Finally, Beth, how do you feel about a United Wolves FA Cup final?
I'd rather it than City and Liverpool, but at the same time, you guys are our bogey team, so I wouldn't want to bring that on.
You actually feel like Wolves are your bogey team? Is that a general?
Yeah, every time we play Wolves, like, we just can't score. We can, and we struggle so much. Like, even last year at the Molineux, like, Rashford came on and ended up winning it for us. But it was a tough game. It's always a tough game for us. But do you know what? Wolves United final, bring it on. We can win. We'll win it, so it's fine.
Well, if it is a Wolves United final, I'm sure we'll be able to get together again and have another chat before that. And do you know what, Beth? It's my dad's.
You knock City out for us at the Molineux, and we can have that final.
You can knock Liverpool out. That'd be fair enough. Yeah. To be honest, we have a good record against Liverpool as well in the cup because I mean, we should have knocked them out last year. If you remember that, they lost the VAR camera, so they couldn't check
Oh
out
yeah.
third goal. I mean, this VAR thing with Wolves goes back to last year as well. You know, Jimenez penalty at Newcastle. We've lost about 7 points this year on VAR decisions. But like, it would be great. It would be great. But I'll just, obviously you wouldn't watch the stuff. My dad's 86, right? He's still going. His dream is to get to an FA Cup final and go with me and sing Abide With Me. He's 86. We got within 60 seconds 4 years ago, before the pandemic, and against Watford, who then got tanked by City 6-0 in the final. And you know, he's 86, so I'm hoping, you know, we came from losing a man away at Brentford, being down to 10 men for 90 minutes, 1-0 down, and got a replay, and then eventually won it. We've beaten the Baggies yesterday for the first time at the Hawthorns in 26 years. Sometimes you just need a little bit of luck to get to final. So I'm hoping that destiny's with us. So I'll, you know, getting to the final would be the first thing, and then we can talk about who's going to win if we can get that. That would be amazing.
Exactly. Now I'm really hoping Wolves get to the final. Now you've told me that story. I'm going to have my fingers crossed for you guys.
Dad, and he ain't getting any younger, and he's still mobile and stuff. So I really, really, we talk about it on the channel every year, and he was in tears after the FA Cup semi-final. When we lost to Watford, because it's his lifelong dream, and so I hope we do more than anything.
My fingers are crossed for you, and I think if anyone can do it, I think Gary O'Neill's got a good chance. So
yes, he's going strong, and we've got a good team spirit. I think we're 7 unbeaten now, so hopefully we've got a good record at Molineux. Finally, Beth, you know, the United Stand. How can people check you guys out?
So just the United Stand on YouTube, on Twitter, and all socials, and then me, myself, or if you want to check me out on Twitter, it is at Beth T MUFC. So yeah.
Fantastic. I say brilliant to have Beth on. As I say, one of the main presenters
Thank
over
you,
on the
Dave.
United Stand, and really appreciate your time and looking forward to the game on Thursday. Thanks for coming on, mate.
Me too. See you then.